Here we go. All ones.
Today, chummers, we'll be talking about System Identification Number, or SIN for short. We'll be covering what they are, how they work, and most important of all, how they affect you while you run the shadows of the Sixth World. Your SIN is a number used to identify and track you within the system, much like the Social Security number of old. These numbers are issued at birth by nations and double and AAA megacorps. Each nation-state and megacorporation run their own SIN database connected to the global SIN registry controlled by the corporate court. These databases rarely exchange information, so if you burn your SIN in one nation or megacorp, it is still likely good in another. Unless you happen to burn it with the global SIN registry, but if you did that, you got bigger worries, chummer. SINs were first issued by the UCAS after passing their 14th Amendment. These first SINs were only issued to humans during the dark, hate-filled days of the Awakening. This caused other metahumans to be classified as legal non-entities or probationary citizens, if they were lucky. After the tragic events of the Night of Rage, the UCAS Congress quickly gave SINs to all meta-humanity, with the Big E being the first non-human to receive a SIN. Even though everyone is supposed to be issued a SIN at birth, doesn't mean everyone has a SIN. Some disregard them on purpose, and others were never issued to them when they were born. These unfortunate enough to not have a SIN are known as the SINless. The SINless are not considered to exist and have no rights. The only way for the SINless to legally obtain a SIN is by an act of government or receiving a criminal SIN upon arrest. This criminal SIN only tracks their criminal activities and identifies them to law enforcement. I know, you're all yelling at me, why the frag is this history lesson important to my SINless who? Well, that's because you can't do any biz in the Sixth World unless you have a SIN or know how to get around them. For that, slide in and let's take a look at the basic ID and payment system of the Sixth World, the Credstick. These little guys run off your SIN and do not just hold your financial information. They also have your relevant ID, passport, what licenses you have, your biometric data, and even act as a key for your house and car. The Sixth World isn't like the old days where you could walk around with cash script and a plastic ID in your pocket. We're living in the digital age, chummer. So when you slot your Credstick over at the Stuffer Shack, they're not just checking how much money you have, they're also scanning your SIN. Ghost, I even hear the high-end clubs use Credsticks as a form of ID to make sure you're of age. So if you want to buy something, you need a SIN, because you can't have a Credstick without a SIN, and nobody takes cash nowadays. So now I'm sure all of you are asking yourselves, how do us Shadowrunners live off the grid and enjoy that neo-anarchist lifestyle? Well, there are a few ways around the SIN. The first and easiest is the good old tried and true barter system of the Barons, but if you prefer the finer things in life, there's also the certified Credstick. This little guy, unlike the standard Credstick, holds no personal information and tracks only the funds that have been transferred into it. The limit of these funds are indicated by the color of the Credstick itself. These are great for those who run in the shadows to exchange Nuyen with no strings attached, as certified Credsticks do not carry any personal information and can do stick-to-stick transfers. The downside of a certified Credstick is if you lose it, you also lose your script, and it doesn't work as an ID like a normal Credstick does. I've seen a few chipped out runners try to open up their door with a certified Credstick. Well, I'm telling you, chummer, it just doesn't work. Though the SIN databases are some of the most secure in the Sixth World, they are on the Matrix, which makes them vulnerable. Despite their security, some of the best deckers in the biz have risked blowing out their minds hacking them. Though it is extremely dangerous and difficult, a black market industry has sprung up dealing in fake SINs. If you want a whiz fake, you gotta spin the script, as not all fake SINs are the same. And you always want a good one if you're gonna survive the shadows of the Sixth World.